Hi there! In this video, I'll show you how to create in-text citations and bibliographies in your word processor using Zotero. The first step is to open your desktop application of Zotero. This will need to be running in the background as you are working in your word processor. Once that's open, let's go to a blank Word document. The Zotero tools in Microsoft Word live under the Zotero ribbon here at the top. To generate your in-text citation, place your cursor where you would like your in-text citation to appear, and then under the Zotero ribbon, click on Add Edit Citation. If it's the first time you're using it, it'll ask you what style you'd like to use. So let's use APA 7th, click OK. And then this red pop-up appears. In this pop-up window, start typing either the title or the author of the source you'd like to cite. And hit enter. And there's our first in-text citation in APA style. I'll add one more here. And if you need to add a page number or suppress the author, click on the citation in the pop-up and then input that information here. So let's say page 2. Hit enter twice, and there's our second in-text citation. Do this process throughout your paper as you're writing it and as you need to make citations. And then at the end, generally on a new page, you can insert your bibliography like this. Under Zotero, the ribbon, click on Add Edit Bibliography. And there's our bibliography in APA style. This bibliography is using the in-text citations and creating the full bibliography for those sources. Now, Zotero is a great application, a great software. However, there are mistakes that can happen. So for example, I can see some mistakes in my bibliography already, most notably the first author here. This is the author's first name and last name, but it's showing up as one word. So I need to change that. And let's see what other. And then I also know that in APA style, the titles need to be in sentence casing. But in my second source here by Sylvia Chu et al., we have title casing in my title. So I need to change that as well. Now, you don't want to change these directly in Microsoft Word. If you hover or put your cursor near any of the citations or bibliography, it'll highlight in gray. And what that means is that Microsoft Word is recognizing this citation as a field. It's not just plain text. So any edits that we make directly in this gray field, we're going to get some errors later on if we ever try to update or change those citations. So instead, you need to go back to your Zotero application, make the changes there. So let's do that. So open up Zotero again, find our source. So this first one about social media, I had to change the title into sentence casing. Now Zotero is really cool. If you hover over the title, right click, you can easily change the casing. So I want sentence casing, and then it just immediately makes that adjustment. Now for our other source here, it looks like I had the author's name, first and last name in the last field. So I had just repeated the author's name twice. So I'll make that adjustment, hit enter. Now I go back into Microsoft Word, and under the Zotero tools, click on refresh. And what this does is it basically just relinks the citations that I've made here with Zotero and the data that I have there. So it should make those updates after I click refresh. And there we go. My last name is fixed and my sentence casing is here for my title. A huge strength of Zotero is that you are able to switch from style to style. So if you start writing a paper and maybe didn't change the setting from the last time you used it, you might still be in the old style. But if you're needing to change that, go up to Document Preferences under your Zotero ribbon, and under the citation style box, change the citation style. So I'll just do IEEE, hit OK. And Zotero immediately made those updates for us. So IEEE uses brackets and numbers instead of the author name like we saw with APA. Zotero 6 was updated in spring of 2022, and one of the tools that they added was the Add Note tool in the Zotero ribbon in Microsoft Word. What this does is it gives you the capability of adding notes that you've written in Zotero to be added to a Word document. It's the same process as adding a citation, so you place the cursor where you want your note to appear, you click on Add Note, and then Zotero will show you the notes that you have that you can put in your Word document. So I'll just click on this one, and then there's my note. It's just this one line. This note is about my paper on Japanese materials. So you can use that tool too. That's a new one. The last button under the Zotero Tools ribbon is Unlink Citations. And basically what this tool does is it will break the connection between this Word document and your Zotero library. So if you unlink your citations, you will no longer be able to update the metadata or hit refresh like we did previously. I would recommend not using this tool unless absolutely necessary. The only times that I've found that it is needed is if you are submitting a paper to a journal and they have some editing software that interacts with Zotero fields in a weird way. That's the only instance when I would unlink citations. If you're working on a project or a paper for a class, I would not recommend ever unlinking your citations. Now, this is Microsoft Word. Zotero works really well in Google Docs as well. So if I open up my blank Google document, instead of the Zotero ribbon, I have a Zotero drop-down menu, but the tools are exactly the same. So I'll add a couple citations here. And you'll notice sometimes you might get stuck on this screen, but what happens is the pop-up window, the little red pop-up window, gets stuck behind the screen. Sometimes that happens the first few times you use it. So be sure to look out for that if you're stuck. Let's put in a few sources here for us. So there are my in-text citations. I'll add a bibliography. In Zotero and Google Docs, it takes like 1 second longer. I'm not really sure why, but it's not too much of a difference from using it in Word. So that's how you use Zotero and citations with a word processor. But Zotero is also capable of creating bibliographies without a word processor. So for example, if you need to quickly share your sources with your advisor or with a group mate, all you have to do is go in Zotero in your library, highlight the items that you want to share, right-click, and then select Create Bibliography from Items. In this window, you pick your citation style. Let's go Chicago, bibliography, copy to clipboard. If you select copy to clipboard, you can just paste it anywhere. So that's the fastest. Let's paste it at the bottom here just so you can see. And there's our bibliography of the sources I just highlighted. A note about this bibliography, the one I just pasted, it's not linked to anything, it is just text, so just be careful if you're putting that in an existing document with Zotero links like this one. Any updates or anything will not apply to this stuff that I just pasted in. Let's review what we discussed in this video. If you want to create in-text citations and bibliographies using a word processor, Zotero works in both Microsoft Word and Google Docs. The tools live under the ribbon and the drop-down menu. Remember that as you're typing your in-text citations, this pop-up will appear, and just type in the title or author of the source you want to add. You can also use Zotero by itself to generate bibliographies. Right-click on the item and select Create Bibliography from Items from the drop-down menu. Then, paste the bibliography wherever you'd like. And that's how you create in-text citations and bibliographies using Zotero. Remember that if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to a librarian.